now is just on let's win right now, and while also simultaneously setting ourselves up to win more for the future. You don't really need to pump up the brand anymore. You don't really need to have that type of event, especially if it's going to be something that costs you a little bit of money. We're cutting costs at every corner, and if Louisville Live was going to cost us more than it was going to make us, then that's kind of, I think, a pretty easy sell to the AD to say, yeah, maybe we just scrap that and revisit it if we need to in years to come. It also, while we supported it, I think fairly well, it was just never going to be like Big Blue Madness. If that's the bar, Big Blue Madness has been sold out and people have camped out for it. I don't think they do that anymore. For decades and decades and decades, we've never had a consistent Midnight Madness event. It's not something that people plan their calendars around like they do at other schools, which makes it very difficult to have the same type of year in, year out fan support for an event like that. Like as excited as people are for Louisville basketball this season and to be back, I don't think a Midnight Madness event or a whatever type event at the Yum Center would have sold out in mid-October, late September, whenever you were going to have it. I do think the Kansas game is going to get you 19,000, 20,000 people inside that building. And that's more important than having 13, 14K for a, dance party, three-point contest, dunk contest, maybe a little bit of scrimmage. This is all a very long-winded way of saying I enjoyed the Louisville Live events the last few years. I'm fine with us making this move. I hadn't even thought about Louisville Live, quite frankly, until the news came out. We've got so much excitement around football, so much excitement around basketball, so much excitement around the entire athletic program. I hadn't given two thoughts to Louisville Live until the tweet came out yesterday from Brooks Holton of the CJ saying, no Louisville Live this year. And I was like, oh, okay.
Got an interesting text here from someone, Mike. It says, it's just cost cutting. We are house poor when it comes to high-level athletics, can afford to compete, but we can't have all the fancy bells and whistles we used to. No Louisville Live, no season ticket holder gifts, no local teams getting played, a bleep ton to come here. And it's one of the downsides of being a professional college sports town. We don't have old traditions. We don't have experiences for young kids to make them fans. We have to win to make that happen. So any sort of fan enrichment experience is going to be cut to save money.
He's not wrong. Texter's not wrong. And I asked the fan base, obviously we want it all. We want wins, we want players, we want recruits, we want, all the bells and whistles. We want everything. But we don't have unlimited funds. We're not an SEC program. We're not a Big Ten program. We've got to, spend a ton of money on football just like everybody else. We're also out there trying to support volleyball, which is there's a good story in the Courier Journal about how unique that is. We're supporting baseball. We're supporting women's basketball more than the average power conference program. And when it comes to men's basketball, it does get to a point, like I said, we all would love to have everything. But if it comes down to it, would you rather have money for the players that you need to go chase a national title on a year-in, year-out basis?
Or give little Timmy the experience of watching Michael Brown shoot some open threes.
I know what my answer is. Hey, little Timmy, guess what? All the games are on TV now. You'll catch him after the season.
Fan enrichment's still important, though, in a city like Louisville, Mike.
I totally agree. But is it more important than doing what you got to do to have? And I think you take into account non-conference scheduling here. We're sacrificing playing some good mid-major teams in order to have a schedule where we can play the best of the best. 7 legitimate NCAA tournament caliber teams this year in our non-conference portion on top of an ACC schedule. We don't get events and doing fan service stuff. It's just the way that it is. Like we are not a poor program, but we don't have unlimited funds, especially for non-football sports, even men's basketball. So when it comes down to and look, like you said, ideally you get to a point where you're winning enough and producing enough money from that as a byproduct of all that winning that you can have events like this if the fans want it, and you can have more fan service stuff, and you can do more things. But for right now, we're still a program as bright as the future is. We're still a program that's coming off the worst on-court era in the history, the 112-year history of Louisville basketball.
One of the worst off-court was too, Mike.
And then we're still a program that just before that is still coming off of the worst off-the-court era. It's a futility as extreme as the ones that Louisville experienced. And one of those is even when you get back on your feet, you can't have everything. Now, if we go out there this year, we go to a Final Four, we win a national title next year, we're a contender of the year after that, we are establishing ourselves as one of the biggest programs in college basketball again. Things can change. You can get more money into the program, but right now, we're still in the process of bouncing back. And there's more to that than just going out there and building a competitive roster, hiring the right coaches, and winning basketball games. There are off-court effects of that too, and we're feeling that right now. The best way to combat it, go out there and have a hell of a season. And the reality is, at the end of the day, that's all the fan base cares about. And you know how we know that it's all the fan base cares about? Because nobody gave a damn about whether or not Louisville Live was going to be played until it got brought to their attention yesterday. Nobody cares. We're winning games. We're having fun. Pat Kelsey's God. This team is full of gods. That's the case until they go out there and don't win at the level that we're expecting them to. It's all that matters. Just win, baby. Just win. Lots of text coming in on the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. We have some things to get to a little bit later in the show. A couple of football nuggets to talk about. A couple of updates on the EKU front, getting ready for this Saturday's game. But up next, we will turn things over to you guys on the text line. Your thoughts after the break. It's your hour. We'll let you take it away. This is the Mike Rutherford Show presented by United Mechanical. Rolling on next here on 1450 and 96.1. Big There are no. I mean, this was the Steve Kragthorpe experience. He takes over a team that had been wildly successful under Bobby Petrino, coming off arguably its best season in program history. Just won the Orange Bowl, had one loss, flirted with the national title. He brought back 15 starters from that team, including the quarterback and 2-star wide receivers, and the reigning, I think, Big East Defensive Player of the Year runner-up in Malik Jackson, and promptly goes 6-6. And throughout that season, he's like, you know what? Culture was terrible here. We had players smoking weed. We had players not going to class. We had a bad locker room, had some bad kids. And as it turns out, man, that wasn't the only issue. Wasn't great. So what does he do? Fires defensive coordinator. Year 2, even worse, fires the offensive coordinator. Year 3, he's gone. This is classic Clemson Bull. I mean, Dari Noka, come on, man. Come on. Thanks, Lincoln. They went 11-2 in 2021 and 6-7 in Lincoln's Brent Venables' first year. First response is, I don't care if they high AF and can't read. I'll take winning any day. That's what it comes down to. It does. I mean, it's always a sign when that stuff starts getting put to the forefront that things aren't going to go well. Kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about, being worried about the defense. Texture says, I know this topic has been discussed in detail, but in regards to Kentucky playing a game at the Yum Center, I think about it like this. Imagine the mayor of Lexington said that Louisville was welcome to play a game at Rupp Arena, which obviously would never happen, and if it did, they'd go J6 on the mayor's office. So very simply, it should never happen here either. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking, before I say this, I am against Kentucky playing a game at the KFCM Center. I thought it was silly that they played in Freedom Hall back in the day. That's where I stand. However, I don't think you can compare the fan ratios in Lexington to the fan ratios in Louisville. There's very clear. I think the notion that it's half and half here is ridiculous. It's always been ridiculous. But there are clearly far more Kentucky fans in the city of Louisville than there are Louisville fans in the city of Lexington. It's just, it's the way that it is. There are, Kentucky fans love to say, well, there are more UK fans in the city of Louisville than anywhere else, which is because we're the biggest city in Louisville, in Kentucky by a wide margin. So yeah, it's true. You have to do things to placate, to appeal to your fan base in the city of Louisville, because there are a lot of folks here. But the city of Louisville doesn't have to play along if they don't want to. Louisville is the city's team. They're the state's team. You can't sit with us. You can't hang out with us. Texter says, how do you pronounce this guy's name? Dennis?
Dennis? Yeah.
Dennis, D-Z-E-N-I-S?
Dennis, but he's Bosnian.
I like that.
Yep. He's a buddy of mine from high school.
I like that he said, hope you still remember me. That's how you know you've made it.
Of course, Dennis.
Texas says, has Mary Rutherford been watching the Today Show recently with Jenna Bush Hager on vacation? Probably. I mean, I think she was watching it today when I got home from taking John to school. I don't know. She gets up earlier than I do now because she gets Virginia ready and takes her. And then we try to let John sleep as long as he can, and we get him up and take him. So I don't know if when she gets back from taking Virginia, if she's been rocking Today's Show before she starts work. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Today's Show. Texas says, trying to teach high school. This is Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville. Trying to teach high school while feeling congested and under the weather. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Allergies are everywhere right now. I mean, everybody that I know has got some sort of late cold. My kids they can't stop sniffling. Mary's had a bad headache going the last couple of days. She also just drilled her head on the playground a couple of nights ago. It's not funny. She smoked it. And I was like, my wife, I love her to death. My wife is extremely clumsy. The most common two sounds you hear in our house are bang and then an expletive, with her being like, damn it. She just runs into stuff all the time. And I wanted to laugh, but then she's crying because she hit the head so hard. So I was like, oh, this is serious. And I think she's had a little bit of a headache since then. But the colds, the allergies, they're everywhere. It's bad. I can't imagine having to teach with that going on. That would suck. Texas, how excited is Chris the Plumber about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's engagement? I don't know. We'll ask him. Texture says, this guy's very concerned about Dan Meskey coming on the show. We're trying to get Dan Meskey on the show. I messaged him again today. Have not heard back. We are going to have
text him, Mike.
No, you have his number?
Guy.
Yeah, you have Neskey's number?
Yeah.
I don't have his number. We follow each other on Twitter. I thought that would be enough. We do have Alexis Cubitt coming on the show tomorrow. Courier Journal beat writer for Louisville football. She'll come on at 3:30. Trying to get Meskey on the show at some point. I've sent him a message today. Hopefully he gets back to me.
I'll give you his number. We had him on for Dalton's show.
Dalton's just taking all the guests.
That was a few weeks.
How was Dalton's show yesterday? What did you guys get into?
We did official predictions on that show as well. He was at 10-2. Producer Matt was at 10-2. I was the lone 9-3.
We're gonna do ours tomorrow. We're doing our game by game. So if you miss Romans, you reserve the right to change because tomorrow's the official one. This is the one that counts. This is the one that we're gonna reflect back.
You're not gonna like mine, and
that's fine.
I don't even agree with. I mean, I do. I agree with my record, and I agree with what I think about each game.
No one gets all the games correct.
Yeah,
nobody does. You gotta. I mean, people were furious at me I can't remember what it was. I want to say 20. It was one of the years where we were really good. I think the Sugar Bowl year where we went 10-2, and like I predicted us to go 10-2, but I had us losing to North Carolina in the non-conference game early in the year. And when we beat North Carolina, people were like, "You bleeping idiot! Like how dare you?" I'm like, "You're not going to get all the It's just try to get the record right. No one's going to call it. Like no one predicted us to lose to Stanford last year. You can't worry about it. You just got to take your best guess, put your name behind it, and then I always hope that I'm wrong on the positive side." Texas says, "This is BS. Gil?" I don't even know who this is, but it's somebody who wants to be on our team. Texas says, "Classic Gil." I'm so excited to meet Gil. This may be the most excited I've been for a Big X Golf Scramble, and I've got no just ill-conceived notions of us being good at golf. I'm just going to hammer Gil with questions for 3 hours. What does Scoots eat for dinner? Have you ever seen Scoots try to talk to a girl? Have you tried to talk to a girl? I want to get to know Gil. I want to know what he's made of. Texture says, this little dumper, "If I'm Josh Hurd, I'm making Georgia pay us to cancel the series and scheduling a series against West Virginia for 26-27. I had this on my list for later in the show, but we can get to it right now because the question came up. So I don't know if you saw this, Roman. I think you were on air when this was happening. But via Brett McMurphy, we've already got the SEC 9-game conference schedule news out there. We assume the ACC schedule is going to move to 9 games as well. So questions are abound about future games that contracts have already been signed for involving schools from both leagues. And the first domino fell this afternoon. Alabama and West Virginia have canceled their home-and-home series, which was scheduled to start next season, 2026, with the return game to Morgantown in 2027. Because of the SEC's move to 9 games, WVU allowed Bama out of the series and did not require them to pay a buyout. At the risk of us looking petty, we got to ask anybody who buys out of our games to pay up, or who asks out of our games to pay up. If Georgia doesn't want to play us...
No, you're buying out. You're not getting out of this.
You ain't getting out of this. Look, this is a grab money by all costs time in college athletics. And if you're a big, bad SEC school with a big, bad SEC budget, and you don't want to play the game, okay.
Pay up.
You're paying. You're going into your wallet and you're paying us. I will be legitimately mad if Josh Hurd or whoever calls the shots on something like this follows West Virginia's suit and says, "Nah, you can just get out." I mean, Georgia's got games. I know in 2027 they do. They play Georgia Tech every single year. They've got, in 2027, they've got us, Georgia Tech, and Florida State all on their non-conference schedule. Next year, they've got Western Kentucky, us, Georgia Tech, and Tennessee State currently scheduled. They're not going to stop playing their arch rival in Georgia Tech. I think if it comes down to it in 2027, they'll buy us out instead of playing against FSU. Jeff Brom, helping our case in this, Jeff Brom's already on record saying, Like, we want everybody. Like, I don't want to play a conference team. I love the 9-game schedule. I will always say we need to play Kentucky. I want Georgia. I want Bama. If we can schedule the freaking Dallas Cowboys, I want to play the Cowboys. So you know that Louisville's not going to be like, we only got 3 non-conference slots. Maybe we play 2 nobodies in Kentucky. They want the Georgia game. They want the A&M games in 28-29. If those teams don't want to play us, cool. We'll take 7 figures for both games. It's very, very nice of West Virginia to do that. Very diplomatic. We can't follow suit. Right?
No.
We got to get paid. We want these games. You bought out of playing us one time already this century. You can't do it again. Let me ask you right now.
If you want to reschedule, we can do that.
No.
You don't want to do that?
Well, we can reschedule while you pay us. We won't make you pay full buyout, maybe half.
Okay.
To kick the game down the line. This game's been on the schedule for like 7 years at this point. So, we're at a point where, we haven't gotten an official announcement from the ACC, and when we do, my assumption is that we won't get an announcement from the ACC until they figured out exactly how they're going to handle this with trying to play a 9-game conference schedule with a number of teams in the league that doesn't add up to everyone being able to play 9 games. I don't know if they're going to do the Notre Dame games count or whatever, but I think it'll take until they figure that out to make that announcement. But you would assume that we would go to 9 games in 2026. That leaves you very little time with the scheduling stuff. Now, if we go to 9 games, we don't need a replacement. If Georgia cancels on us, we've still got 3 non-conference games lined up. But if I asked you right now, do you think the game that's just about 12 months away against Georgia at Cardinal Stadium, because they're supposed to come here first, do you think that game gets played?
I do. I do. I think playing us will benefit them too, Mike.
I don't think they're going to play us. I think it'll be, well, here's the other thing that happens. They're more likely to play us next year than they would be in 2027. I think ideally for them, they're like, all right, cool. We can get rid of the Tennessee State game. And then we've got Western Kentucky, Louisville, and Georgia Tech. But 2027, when you've already got Florida State and Georgia Tech, which are both road games on the docket, they might not want to play us. So can they buy out of one game? Would we be okay with that? And if they do buy out of one game, we got to make sure that it's the game in Athens. Like, we can't just play them on the road and then get compensation for them not coming. Like, we're now in the era of we need good TV ratings too. Like, we need that game at Cardinal Stadium September 19th against Georgia, who you assume is going to be a highly ranked team at that point for a variety of reasons. One, it's going to be a sellout crowd. 2, it's a potential huge moment for our brand. And then 3, we need the TV ratings bump to get the most money we can from this new revenue sharing deal that the ACC has. So, we need those games. And if you're not going to play them, you got to make it worth our while. So, Josh Hurd, you can't be afraid of looking small here. You got to make these schools pay up if they don't want to play. Texter says, hey, Mike and Roman, happy game week. In honor of the start of the season, I listened to the CC emergency pod from the Clemson game last year on the drive into work this morning, and I've assembled a list of the best moments of the opening 5 minutes. Oh, God. I don't know if we want to revisit this. 1, Mike opening the pod describing the scary, sad scene of Clemson fans meeting at the Paul after the loss, and drunk Danny fully believing that a national tragedy was occurring for a second. That was, I planned that. I was very proud of how I opened that podcast. 2, ha, 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 bleep my bleep, you bleep heads. This is the greatest night of my entire life. That's something that I did actually say. Not professional, but that's the podcast. Regarding,
Mike.
Well, I got to say what I got to say. This is what happens on emergency pods. Regarding your meet at the Paul running joke, I don't know where exactly Michelangelo's last stroke on the Sistine Chapel was, but now I know how he felt when I hit send. 3, Dabo, quote, couldn't pass second grade math at this point. 3, I was torn the entire second half between being terrified that this was all going to blow up in my face and being just fully erect and not being able to beat that erection down. 4, Ron English, you big silly man, was a quote. That was Danny. I didn't say that. Generational 5-minute run on the pod. Looking forward to more great moments this season. Go Cards, beat AKU. That was, I was thinking about this actually last night. Maybe the best day of my 2024. Like maybe the best day of my entire year. It was just incredible. Just that beatdown, having it all happen, doing the podcast. It was a joke that I had been working on basically 10 years in the making. It felt incredible to win that game. It's going to feel just as good when we beat them this year. Texas says, not a fortune teller, but although Arkansas is getting a lot of preseason attention, they sort of remind me of the 2023-2024 Michigan State team almost 2 years ago, given their roster makeover. Spartans came off an overtime Sweet 16 loss to a Big 12 team in 2023, but began that season with a home loss to James Madison and ended up in 8-9 seed territory. I'm glad we're on the same page with this Stallworth. I don't know if they're going to be quite that bad, but I'm not buying the Arkansas legitimate top 10, top 15 hype. I'm just not. They got good talent.
I am.
You are? That's fine. You could be right. I think we're all just letting a couple of wins as a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament overshadow the fact that they were remarkably disappointing all of last year and kind of had the same guys back this year.
Didn't they pick it up at the end of the year?
I mean, enough to make the NCAA tournament as a 10 seed, but they weren't, they were preseason what, top 10? They were supposed to be very good.
That's true, and they were out of the race for quite some time.
My whole thing, and I know that I'm not immune to overreacting to NCAA tournament results. Everybody does it. It's just, it's impossible not to. But I always look at things like this under the guise of if they had played to their seed, if they had lost the 10-7 matchup in the first round of the NCAA tournament, would anybody be talking about this team as, I think they're Final Four good, or I think they're top 10 good? Maybe a couple of people, but their preseason hype would be dramatically less than it is right now, just like that Michigan State team that Stallworth brings up from a couple of years ago.
That's true.
Now, I could be totally wrong about this. They could. Maybe that was the jumping point that they needed to get things going. Maybe there was a little bit of just clunkiness with John Calipari walking into a new program. But I'm very much in I'll believe it when I see it type mode with that Arkansas team. I'm calling a lot of shots to a lot of teams that we played this year. Texas says, Mike, you can't put Louis out if he's a basketball Cardinal. Well, hold on. He's not a basketball Cardinal. We put him out for basketball season last year, but he's not a basketball.
And what did we do in conference last year?
Well, we put him out at the end of the season. We put him out for the last week of the regular season and then our run to the conference championship game, and then he was out for the NCAA tournament. But he's not like, it's not a Cardinal inflatable like holding a basketball or anything like that. It's a standard, non-denominational Cardinal inflatable. It's for all sports. It could be for anything. It's just Louis hanging out, being himself, not holding a football, not holding a basketball, not favoring any sport. So let's get that straight. But he did say your only option is to get another Louis inflatable tonight, express delivery, and put it in the yard before Saturday. Again,
it's a great move there.
Well, no, I'm not going to do that.
Find a football Louis.
This is not a basketball Louis. Now, there is at our old house, there used to be this house, and if you're listening to this, I love you, and my kids loved your house. But there was a house that every football season, on game days or like a couple of days before every game, they had this giant inflatable Cardinal helmet that they would put on their front yard. And it made me feel like that first week, like today, walking by that house, I was like, oh, it's time. Here we go. And John loved pouring into the big Cardinal helmet, and we loved walking past the Cardinal helmet house. It was awesome. But so they do make sport-specific Cardinal inflatables. But the one that I have it's a Louis for all sports, a Louis for all men and women. So that changes things. Texture says, also, Bompy inflatable in the yard when? There will never be a Bompy anything. I don't even know if Bompy's around. You guys love making fun of the Bompy. Oh, Bompy was so cute. Oh, Mike hated Bompy. You know that guy who was actually in the Bompy costume? Arrested multiple times. Creepo. I'm a very good judge of character, Roman. I knew, even when he was in that costume, gallivanting around Puerto Rico, giving us that creepy rolling eye, I knew there was something off about that Bompy. Everyone else like, let's bring Bompy to Louisville. I was like, you know what? Creep can roll, man. Yeah, but he's a pedophile. That's a quote. That's not me alleging that Bompy's a pedophile, although the guy who played Bompy had some pretty bad skeletons in his closet. Texture says, Yes, 2 years, Roman, and they're mid-30s.
I guess.
I love that that person right before we even brought it up said, are we talking about the big engagement or no? That was 3 minutes into the start of the show. They're going the distance, Roman. This has established my belief that true love actually exists. I don't believe it for myself. But if Travis and Taylor can do it, by God, it's true. Texas Lazard guy here. Get Louis out there, and if we're in the playoff hunt, you just got to dress him up for the holidays. I just don't know. There was a part of me that wanted to put him out there for the College World Series. And then I was like, baseball team's rolling right now. I don't want to mess up the mojo. So, it's a tough call. I am leaning heavily towards not putting Louis out in the yard, but I want to feel the festivities. It feels wrong not to kind of celebrate this in some way where I'm showing the rest of the world that we are a Cardinal house by God and that we're ready for football season. I don't know. I'll take more thoughts. We'll get back to the Game Day Men's Health text line after the break. 502-414-1450 is the number. More from you after we pause for the cause. This is the Mike Rutherford Show presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. over me. We were once driving back from a baseball tournament when I was in 8th grade, and the friend's dad or the teammate's dad who was driving us back listened to the song on repeat, I think 30 times in the car. And as I gotten older, I'm pretty sure he was messed up. Like when I think back about the things he was saying and the fact that he refused to listen to anything except this one song on CD over and over again, I'm like, I think he was high as hell. I'm almost positive that we were driving in a very, very dangerous situation coming back from a meaningless baseball tournament in northern Kentucky. But it's a great song. I don't fault him for listening to the song. I do fault him for putting my life and my friends' lives in jeopardy. We're here. It's the Tuesday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show presented by United Mechanical. Mike Rutherford and Roman Kelly inching closer and closer to the start of football season. It feels incredible. We're very excited about that, and we're very excited to hear from you more on the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. More thoughts from you guys this segment. Got a couple things to talk about next segment, and until then, you guys can take it away. Texter says, have you seen the news, Mike? A beautiful blonde finally announced today that they are making things official with their match. Allow me to offer my congratulations to Valtteri Bottas and Cadillac. Terry Bodas got a new contract, got a new ride, Formula One sensation, getting it done. That's clearly the marriage of the day. Texas says, Eric Smith of USA Today Sports has U of L missing a bowl game. Well, we can't let this stand. All right, Eric. So, okay, these are bowl projections from Eric Smith of USA Today. Okay, before I get too mad, so he does not have Louisville on his list of bowl projections. I always wonder if this is purposeful or if this is somebody who's just been tasked with figuring out who's going to play in a million bowl games who has an oversight here. He's like, oh, yep, forgot Louisville. It could be either way. I mean, we hold media members to a higher standard. You shouldn't have an error like that. It does happen a lot. So I need to hear from Eric Smith himself. First of all, I don't even know who Eric Smith is. I don't trust Erics who spell their name R-I-C-K. E-R-I-C-K. Go with the K or go with C. You can't have both. But I'm trying to find his. Okay, here he is on Twitter. He only got 3,000 followers. That's not a good start.
I'm about to quote this. I'm about to tweet at him, Mike.
I'm trying to find. He's got hot. Okay, here are his bowl projections. He's got one retweet and one comment, which I can't see. I don't know if it's from somebody that I muted or if it's spam. But it's clearly not attracting a ton of readership.
I'll get him some readership.
He looked. He looks. Who was the guy, the Payne guy last year? Who was the poor bastard who was doing the NCAA tournament projections based on ESPN?
Neil Payne.
Neil Payne, his totally flawed model, who just got bombarded by Louisville fans. He did feel like the tax guy from Happy Gilmore, who's like, "It's not me. I know you hate me, but this isn't. I can't. It's not like I'm taking this from you."
Mr. Incredible doing the insurance.
Exactly. Yeah, he had no idea. He's like, it's ESPN's formula. And it got so bad that they looked at it and they're like, oh, yeah, our formula's screwed. They just sent that poor guy. They just threw him in the trenches with a butter knife and no other weaponry to protect himself. Before we attack this guy, I want to make sure that we don't have a similar situation at play here. His header's a map of the world. It's a ridiculous picture. So I'm judging this guy now. We'll see. Who's he having his playoff? Oh, what do you know? He's got Clemson in at number 2. Great. Alabama at 1. Penn State 3, Georgia 4. He's got Memphis State in the play. Okay, now he's got to die. Now it's over. Now we got to come for this man's life. And when I say that, I mean just his career life. He's got Memphis State playing Ohio State in the playoff, while also having Notre Dame in there playing Utah, Illinois, Texas, and LSU, Oregon. That's. I don't even care if the Louisville thing is a misstep. He's got Memphis State in the playoff. We can't. He's banned from the show.
He clearly doesn't watch football.
He can't come on the show. He's out. Indiana in the playoff against Tennessee.
Eric.
Not even a real name. Texter says, hey, Mike. Hey, Roman. This is Big Dumper. First Big Dumper text. Well, no, actually not. It's
Big Dumper was trying to make sure we got this text.
I mean, sent it 4 different times. 5 different times. It's Big Dumper's first text since July, though. He feels passionately about this. He said, I'm a weapons guy. Roman's criticism of the police in the movie not policing effectively because real police always deliver swift justice is pretty funny. Weapons plot is not the tidiest, nor does it aim to be, as it doesn't follow the hero's journey narrative structure we're accustomed to with mainstream storytelling. But the protagonists are real, emotional, and flawed, even in the end, as the movie culminates with an almost unexplainable catharsis.
I can agree with that part for sure.
If you go in expecting a good time and not the greatest movie of all time that also skewers all of our societal ills, then you'll be more inclined to appreciate it. Anyway, The Rutherford Show remains my go-to for all things Gilded Age, weapons, and sometimes even sports. Cards by 56. Oh, and Cal Raleigh hit his 50th homer last night. Incredible season by the OG Big Dumper. Dumper out. Would you care to react to Big Dumper's criticism of your criticism of weapons?
I agree. I probably shouldn't have went into it. I mean, I wasn't thinking it was going to be the greatest movie of all time. I
you
thought
hate weapons.
Be just a little bit more logic happening at the peak of its climax. I just was disappointed with the peak of the climax there.
It's skewering all of our societal ills, Roman.
It is, and I can't deny that it's doing that.
Podcast Random Thoughts guy has weighed in too. Back-to-back weapons tag. We're back to our core here, which at the heart of the show has always been takes on the movie Weapons. I'm not upset with Roman's take on weapons, as another texter said. I just found the scenes, and you know the ones I'm talking about, Roman, were worth the price of admission.
Fair.
Is that a sex scene reference?
No.
Okay. He's right about the ring camera, though. That should have been Detectiving 101. The girl who tackles the antagonist took an incredible line through the window, though. I just need capers to decapitate someone, and decapitation texter needs to come back. Decapitation? Question mark.
Where is decapitation guy?
He's waiting for football season. Gelati's gone, so we haven't been able to say it. He's waiting. I mean, who's going to be the question that I have? I fully expect decapitation guy to be back on the text line this season. I love people that just started listening to the show like 4 months ago who are like, what the hell is going on here? Decapitation guy is going to be back. The question is who he picks as his predictive decapitative player. Does he go with Stan Kwan? Does he go with Clev Lubin? Does he go with someone cool that we're not even talking about? It's a huge preseason question, Roman.
He's going to have to figure it out this week. We need a decapitation guy.
Texas, what's up, Mike? Crib guy here. What's up, Crib guy? Hope that crib's treating you well. Travis and Taylor are absolutely going the distance. Frankly, I'm disappointed in Roman for immediately jumping to conspiracy theories and cynicism. Roman, do you not love love? It's a bad look.
I do.
Who hurt you, Roman?
Nobody. I love
What's
love.
Holly been saying to you behind closed doors?
I want them to experience love. I shouldn't. You're right, Texter. I was quick to be a Debbie Downer on what on potential beliefs there.
96% of celebrity marriages go the distance, Roman.
That can't be true.
It's not true at all. It's like it's probably like 11%. I mean, hell, it may not even be 11%. Can we think of one celebrity marriage that's gone the distance? Like what's the pinnacle of celebrity marriages?
Beyonce and Jay-Z.
I mean, they've had their issues.
And they probably she's probably had the right to.
Didn't Sarah Michelle Gellar marry Freddie Prinze Jr.? Aren't they still together?
I don't know the woman's name you just said.
Sarah Michelle Gellar? Well, you're too young. She was a big deal when I was growing up. I believe they're still married. Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
I know those names.
I'm related to Goldie Hawn. I don't know how, but I always came up. Kevin Bacon's married to somebody famous, too. And now I feel bad. Kira Sedgwick. The Beckhams. They've had their issues. They're still married. Cool dad and stepmom. Rutherford's still going strong. Texter says, CFB here. Colts fan Brian here. Thank you for being Colts fan Brian and not Cubs fan Brian today. Colts fan Brian here to express my condolences to Roman on his team also picking the wrong quarterback to start the season. Don't worry, we can both cheer for Lamar and the Ravens together. As for Mike, he couldn't let it slide. Kindly suck it and have a good day watching the Reds get blasted again.
At least he said kindly.
Joke's on you. I'm not staying up that late to watch the Reds.
I'm feeling more optimistic about Tyler Shuck's rookie season, Mike. The more I think
because he's not starting?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. Well, you don't know what Tyler Shuck's going to look like in an official game going up against starting defensive lines, and with what our starting offensive line is going to look like, it should be a little bit better. If he potentially didn't figure it out from game one, then we have to deal with Rattler after him, and then we don't have a quarterback again at all. I like the idea of 0-6 Rattler going like 0-8, 0-2, or 0-8, 0-9 because he hasn't won a game yet. I mean, like he's 0-6 as it stands. No way you're going to go 4 games into the season with 3 losses playing a guy who hasn't won an NFL game yet. I do think this is better in the long run for Tyler for the outlook of the entire season. Him getting in game 4 or game 5 when you know for 100% that Rattler isn't the answer, I think is best.
So you're saying basically, like, you and most Saints fans are pretty convinced that Spencer Rattler at best is a below average quarterback. So if he goes out there and just stinks it up, you at least have hope with Tyler Shuck coming in and being a better than average quarterback. Whereas if you started Shuck and he sucked,
then you don't think there's any room to improve for either quarterback that you've got.
Then you're just hopeless.
Exactly.
Then you're just going to the guy who's already proven that he kind of can't get it done at this level.
Reverse psychology here from some Kellen Moore, Mike. I'm not mad at it.
All right. I'm willing to accept that. I still think it's the wrong choice.
I do too, but he's setting himself up for less backlash in week 6, week 7, week 8.
We want what's best for Tyler. Plus, I mean, he's such a lightning rod right now because of the Shador stuff. Like, you see people tweeting all that. Like, there was a guy who, like, there was a clip from a Chiefs preseason game of a guy, like, running into a trash can. And he was like, oh, he ran into Tyler Shuck out there. I'm like, it has nothing even to do with Tyler Shuck. If he went out there and sucked in week 1, everybody who is, like, diehard Shador Sanders fan or just diehard the Saints shouldn't have taken Tyler Shuck that early, they just go nuts. And, I think Tyler's a pretty mentally strong guy, but it affects different people in different ways. Like, maybe that does force him to lose some confidence. Yeah, maybe that they're thinking he's got the higher potential, so let's go ahead and keep that possibility off the table. And if we can bring him in week 4, week 5, and he sets the world on fire, then awesome. And if he starts a little bit slow, then people are they're not going to be – everyone's judgmental after week 1. Everyone loves jumping to conclusions after the first week of the season in both college and NFL. They're not going to be as judgmental if he gets a start in week 5 and he stinks. If Tyler Shuck is – I mean, if Spencer Rattler is sucked for the first 4 weeks and then you bring Tyler Shuck in and he's terrible in week 5, people are like, well, he sucks too. What a terrible franchise. Let's go get Arch Manning. Whereas if you start him in week 1 and he sucks, it's like one of the big storylines in the NFL.
Exactly.
I'm coming around a little bit. I think, okay, I see where you're coming from. I like that a little bit.
Tyler Shuck said he's super disappointed as a competitor, but he's ready to support Rattler however he can.
That's pro right there.
There it is.
It's a Jeff Brom groomed quarterback. That's what Brom does. Texture says, this is Rashawn. Mike, there was another coach that tried to blame his failures on the players as well. Cough, cough, Kenny Payne. Cough, cough, Rashawn. Look, I think you made the comparison after I did. Or maybe it was before. I don't remember when we brought this up. But, yeah, I had the same thought, and I did express it on the radio, even though it pained me to do so. It's part of the reason why I'm so nervous about this. I feel like it's very rare that you have coaches saying the types of things that Ron English has been saying this offseason, and the season starts, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, he was right. The kids we had the wrong players last year. He's good. We're good now. We just had a bad batch of defensive players in 2024.
It was every position group.
We weren't good. Now, we gave us some signs of hope at the end of the season. They played better against UK and Pitt, and the Clemson game, they were very good. But the bad outweighed the good last season. There's no question about it. What I do like, though, is we're beyond the point of excuse making. Jeff Brom has come out numerous times during fall camp and said the defense looks really good. Our defensive line looks fantastic. Our secondary looks really good. If we go out there and stink it up as a defense, he's done. Like we will move on. We'll move in a different direction. We'll bring in a different coordinator, and we'll start from scratch on that side of the ball. And if the best case scenario, which is the defense is great, happens, cool. You're our guy. Coaching staff continuity is a good thing. Ideally, you're our man next year, but you got to go out. This is very much a prove-it season for Ron English on the defensive side of the ball. Texas says, so Mike, a few days ago, I was out in my man cave with my daughters. One is 2 and the other is 3. And my oldest said, Daddy, with a long pause while pointing at his picture, at this picture, that would really hurt. I laughed far longer and harder than I should have. As a father, I feel like I need to move the pictures, but as a fan and a lifetime hater of the Cats, I can't bring myself to do it. Should I stay or should I go? And the picture is the famous Catch That Cardinal Spirit picture of a U of L, Louis the Cardinal Bird, appearing to shove a basketball up the Kentucky mascot's behind. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, I mean, there's no room for interpretation here. That's a Cardinal Bird in the process of shoving a basketball up the ass of a Kentucky Wildcat mascot. Would it hurt? I assume so. Does it need to come down because your 3-year-old pointed it out? I say no. Maybe place it less prominently. Put it back up when they're 10 or so, and they can properly appreciate the humor. You can't take that down.
Got to leave that up.
That's art right there. It's a Picasso. I mean, imagine a world where that was imagine that coming out today.
If we beat them in a national championship game, I would get this tattoo.
I mean, imagine today, like the official U of L account is like, yeah, there's Louis just shoving a big old basketball right up the Cat's ass. Like, just you don't get this type of art in 2025. You don't get anything like this. I don't think they could get away. I used to have the picture of the Cardinal Bird strangling the Wildcat mascot with one arm. They also make it with the cat strangling the Cardinal Bird. And that would be a bridge too far. Like, he's holding the tail up and just shoving that thing in there. You got to hold on to that. I'll buy it from you if your kid's too scared. It's gorgeous. Texture says, this is Chris the Plumber. I'd rather save the money from Louisville Live and put it towards NIL. I mean, this is what it's going to come down to. Also says Travis Swift has a nice ring to it. In all seriousness, like, decisions are going to have, it's like the baseball discussion we had back in June, where there was a really good CJ story by Peyton Titus talking about the funding going to baseball. Look, we've heard Dan McDonald complain about this a number of times about, there was money that was earmarked back in 2020 when Vince Tyre was the AD for upgrades to Jim Patterson Stadium, for that new project for an indoor hitting facility for the baseball team that would be right there by Jim Patterson Stadium. And they never broke ground on that. They haven't made any of the improvements that were in the works. And the reason is because they took that money that was earmarked for baseball and in the last couple of years decided to use it on acquiring players from the transfer portal. And that's with the backing of Dan McDonald. He knew about this. He made the same decision. Now, with the team having such a successful year last year, I think now he's like, well, I want both. We're making money for the program. We're one of the best teams. If you want to keep going to College World Series, look how much fun the fan base had. Look at, how great everybody thought it was. If you want this to keep happening, we need both these things. We need a better stadium. We need an indoor hitting facility, and we need the money for players. But you certainly could understand why a couple of years ago with the baseball program struggling, us still kind of reeling from some of the other issues post-COVID that had taken money away from the athletic program, why they were like, look, you can have cool facilities or you can have cool players. Right now you can't have both. Which do you choose? And McDonald, I think, made the wise choice and was like, give me the players. Let's go out there. Let's win some games and then see what happens. That's still kind of where basketball is. Basketball obviously has a ton more funding behind it and a ton more just money in general around the program. But there still are areas where you've got to say, do you want cool non-conference games against like good mid-major teams, or do you want crappy games against crappy teams but more money to go out there and get players? Do you want Louisville Live? Do you want players? And I think the answer that every Louisville fan's going to have is we want wins, we want players. We haven't won a damn tournament game since 2017. We haven't been to the second weekend since 2015. At the end of the day, all this fan base wants is to win at the highest possible level again. Everything else be damned, at least for the time being. Texter says, when UK started doing Midnight Madness in the early 80s, it literally was at midnight, October 15th, no matter what day of the week it fell. Sports Illustrated asked Jerry Jones why U of L didn't do it as well. His response was that, quote, our guys don't come in that early. I mean, that was the whole thing. It wasn't just a pomp and circumstance. what I was always told growing up, and I don't know if this is right, was Indiana was the first school to do this, and it wasn't like a big event. It was just that Bob Knight, as a message to his team, had a practice right at midnight on October 15th because that was, by the rules, the first time that they could hold an official practice. And so it was kind of a, like, planting his flag, like, this is what to expect, this is what we do in this program. Every available minute that we have at our disposal, we're putting your asses to work. And from that point, it grew into kind of more an event. Kentucky followed suit. A number of other schools followed suit, and they chose to turn that it was like, basically, it would just be a first practice. And then it became more of a show, and you had the dunk contest, and you had the dancing, and you had more and more fans showing up, and it evolved from there. And now, with the early start to practice, like you can practice way earlier. You have the summer practice sessions. It's all just kind of like doing it at actual midnight is just kind of for show because teams can have actual practices before that, but some teams like to uphold traditions. It's never been our thing. Texas little Timmy may not be able to watch Michael hit layups at Louisville live, but he can watch us play basketball in April, and that's better. That's the thing. You know what you can do, little Timmy? Go to the Final Four send away. Save up that money. Follow that team to Indianapolis. It's a small drive. Go up there. Watch that team play in the Final Four. Buy yourself a national title shirt when all is said and done. You won't give two bleeps about missing Louisville live. Are we being too mean to little Timmy today?
Not really. I just hope we can get there for him.
He's got to learn. At some point, you got to learn. Can't get everything that we want. Texas Mike, the ultimate question, the next few years about money will be how we spend on the smaller sports to keep up. Because basketball was so profitable, unlike other big programs, we didn't have to divert football money to it. We could put money to sports like women's basketball and baseball. But in this new era where it's all about football and the growing gap with the SEC and the Big Ten in terms of revenue, it seems like there's going to be a point where we can't spend big time on the non-revenue sports like we used to if we want to keep up with the big boys in football. I mean, I'll just say it, that point's already here. We're only spending money on 5 sports when it comes to the $20.5 million revenue funding money to pay players. It's just the basketball programs, football, baseball, and volleyball. Now, they may reevaluate that on a year-to-year basis, but for right now, the sports that aren't generating any revenue, which is every other sport, all 18 other ones, they're not getting money for NIL. It's not that we're not spending any money on those programs. We're still doing the requisite amount of work, but we're not investing in those programs the way that we are in the other 5. Now, if men's soccer goes out there, and props to the men's soccer team, John Michael Hayden and company go on the road, pull out a 1-0 win over UAB last night. Michael Lee scores in the 9th minute. Shout out to him. Shout out to the team. They're 2-0 in the young season. If men's soccer gets it rolling like they had back in the early aughts where they were competing for national titles and constantly being nationally ranked, maybe all of a sudden you start looking at them as a program that you're willing to give a little bit more money to. But for right now, you can't, haven't really earned it. They're not playing on the same level that volleyball or baseball or women's basketball are. So I hate to say it is what it is, but it is what it is at this point. There's Mike, no need to read this on air. Well, you've come too far. But I was just grabbing lunch with Logan Ballman. He wished you a happy birthday and said hello. Happy early birthday from me, too. Thanks for all the years of radio, website, and podcasting. I love Logan Ballman, who was a walk-on on the national championship team, worked here as an assistant for a handful of years, ended up going to Evansville as an assistant, and I think got out of basketball a couple of years ago because, like so many kind of assistants at the mid-major, low-major level, it's a gigantic commitment, and it's not a ton of compensation. And if you want to start a family, which I think he and his wife were doing, it's a tough sell to the wife and kids. And you get to a point where I think you've got to kind of choose what sort of life you want. Do you chase the white whale of getting a major conference job and making enough money to justify all the years of traveling and going to small cities and being away from your wife and kids? Or do you take the safe route and take a more stable job? And a lot of people take the more stable job. And I think Logan, unfortunately, got caught up in some of the stuff that was happening there with Walter McCarty. Didn't get caught up, but he was on a staff where the head coach was doing improper things with co-eds, and that derailed the progress of the program. and it sort of derailed his professional progress as well, which sucks for him because I think he was a brilliant basketball mind who could have been a great head coach, and hopefully he still gets another chance at some point down the line to go chase that dream. But one of my favorite favorite memories. So we went back to the team hotel, Roman, in 2013 after we won the national title, and one of the coaches on the staff brought me and my wife and my sister-in-law, then just Mary's sister. We weren't married at that point, and a couple of our other friends brought them into the room where they had the national championship trophy, and we got to spend time with the trophy hours after we just won the national title.
That's so cool.
And they also, so Logan, you can only dress a certain number of players for the Final Four. At least that was the rule back then. So Logan, as like the last man on the team, kind of the walk-on, like technically didn't get to dress. He had to wear he got to be on the bench, but he couldn't wear like the uniform. And so his uniform was in a box in this room. And so I'm holding the trophy, very drunk, while wearing Logan Ballman's jersey. It's like, we always have a bond after that. I let him know very quickly. I was like, I had to get a picture in your jersey, man. Like the sleeved camo jersey of Logan Ballman was worn by me just hours after winning the national title. It felt incredible. But he's a very, very good guy, great guy. We'll take one more and then we'll break. Texture says, I saw on the college football subreddit someone calculated that there's 8 scenarios where 4 teams in the ACC regular season could potentially be undefeated. The most likely scenario is involving us, UNC, FSU, and Georgia Tech all potentially going 12-0. Could you imagine the bleep storm that would ensue with both the ACC title game tiebreaker and the college football playoff if that were to occur? I think I saw last year in the Big Ten there was, I want to say 7 scenarios where or there was a scenario where 6 different teams could have gone undefeated, which, yeah, it's probably never going to happen, but as a lover of chaos, as a chaos enthusiast, I would kind of love it. Only if it didn't screw us. What if we went 12-0 and didn't get to play for a conference title and got left out of the playoff? It'd be the most Louisville thing of all time.
It would.
Let's take a break. When we come back, I've got a big-time question for Roman in the text line. We've also got another big piece of U of L news about some legends who are going to get some proper due from the university coming up this year. We'll talk about that. And then we'll open things back up to the Game Day Men's Health text line. Hour number 3 is on the way next. Keep it locked right here. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical on the Big X. pre-internet. Couldn't just look something up like this. And it turned out they were all boys, and we were stunned. I thought it was 2 and 1. I'll fully admit. My apologies to Taylor Hanson for thinking you were a girl. This was a banger. Roman, are you familiar with Hanson?
Not really. This is just a song.
It's okay.
They all look like girls, though.
They do. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It was just a big debate back in the day. If you've been hurt in an accident or on the job recently and you're looking for the right direction to go to get yourself back on your feet, the Collier Law Firm is the best place to go. You're going to see Tony Collier everywhere in the months to come. The Collier Law Firm branding's all over Cardinal Stadium. It's on buses now. He's the sponsor of the Jeff Brom radio show, which, by the way, debuts tomorrow night from 7 to 8 on 970 WGTK over there at the Roosters in Fern Creek. But they've got the ability to put their name out there for a reason. They've been doing great work around this area for a decade plus. They are the best in the business when it comes to this whole deal because they all have several years of experience working for the insurance companies. They've got the other team's playbook. They know how to use it. They're going to get you the most money that you can possibly get for your recovery. And when that happens, they're going to let you keep the most money for your recovery, which is why their attorney fees start at just 25%. Call Tony and the crew over there today at 502-736-8141. You can also visit them online at CollierLawFirm.com, COLYER lawfirm.com. Hurt in an accident, hurt on the job, Collier Law Firm. All right, I've got a major question that I need help with, Roman.
Okay, let me know.
So I think this came up on a show last week where somebody was asking for, he's like, I'm trying to get back into reading. Give me some recommendations. You and I did our best. But I did note, I've had, the last couple of years have been probably the least that I've read when it comes to just books, not articles, newsletters, like whatever, in my entire life. Like, I just have not done well when it comes to reading books. So I'm a big podcast guy. Love listening to podcasts in the car. Love when walking the dog, doing some sort of like odd jobs around the house, going on a podcast, losing yourself, learning some stuff, having a good time. So I just wrapped up a lengthy one. It was called Your Own Backyard. And it was from a few years ago. But I like podcasts where they come to a conclusion, right? I hate the murder mysteries or the whatever ones where it ends and they've built this gigantic story and they give you no conclusion. They're like, they always end it the same way too, and it drives me crazy. They're like, all I could think about was, and they talk about the victim and the story. Maybe this helped her. Maybe it didn't. Did it help myself? What did it teach me about myself? And I'm like, oh, you've got nothing to say. It's driving me crazy. You thought you were going to get to a conclusion. You didn't. And now you're trying to act like you found something. And the reality was you wasted everybody's time. That drives me crazy. But this one was great because the guy, I don't think I'm spoiling anything. He basically solves a murder. And so it started like 6 years ago. And they had podcasts from a couple years later of the trial and then some follow-up podcasts after the trial. So it was a thrilling listen, but it was like 20 episodes long. So I finally wrapped it up a couple of days ago, and I'm trying to think about where I should go next. And Mary was like, she's gotten big into listening to audiobooks. She just is constantly listening to audiobooks, and she's like, you should get an Audible account and start doing that. And so I was like, all right, you seem to be enjoying this. I do want to get back into, even if it's not reading, like books and losing myself in some storytelling. So last night, walked Penny, threw on a book on Audible, very much enjoyed it, listened to it while I was in the shower, and I'm like, oh, I'm 4 chapters in. It took like 45 minutes. I'm like, I've read 4 chapters down. This is great. I'm seeing more and more people do this. My question is, does this count as reading books?
No.
So I lean towards no too, but I really want it to. And now that I'm realizing how, because you use the same parts of your brain that you do when you're actually reading, but it's clearly very different. It's less.
You're listening to somebody else read.
You are. But when I see other people, especially people who are kind of living the same life that I am, where they've got full-time jobs, they've got kids, they've got a spouse, they're doing stuff, and they're laying out like, hey, here are the 27 books that I've read in the last 2 months. I'm like, how? How are you doing this? Do you not do anything else? Just lie down and read 2 hours at a time? And the more that I'm seeing people do this, the more that I'm suspecting that they're going the audiobook route. So I last night I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, is this what people are doing? And I ended up like Googling this, and you get the AI response at first. AI is saying audiobooks count as reading because they provide similar cognitive benefits to reading a physical book and allow for comprehension and engagement with the text, even if the method is different. Now, the Google AI is wrong about everything. So that just led me to think that this doesn't count as reading even more. I want it to count as reading, but I can't get myself there. I can't let myself be like, oh, yeah, like I'm going to knock this book out in like 5 car rides. And I feel like I can't justifiably say, yeah, I read this book. It was great. I feel like I listened to this book, and I think it's different. But let me know if I should feel better. So you say firm no.
It's weird because I don't think it's reading, Mike, but I don't think that there's any difference in it's still reading comprehension. I mean, with what you're gathering from listening to a book we read, you're going to probably come away with the same takeaways.
So there was a Reddit thread, too, about this, and almost everybody is saying, like, the question was, do you count audiobooks on, like, they're like, I read physically, and I also do some audiobooks. Do the audiobooks count on my list of what I've read for the year? And most people are saying, like, yes, it does. And this furthers my belief that everybody's doing this, and that's why everybody's on the same page. And if so, cool. I just want to know if I can join in. I mean, I feel like I've got a full grasp of the story. I'm not missing much. I know where things are, but I'm not physically sitting down and reading the words with my eyes.
But I want doing the same thing. Listening is doing the same thing that you would be doing if you were reading it. It's every single word that's in the book being
processed,
put into your brain. Yeah,
I want it to count. I just need somebody to convince me that it's okay.
I think it's okay for it to count. It's just a different experience.
It's definitely a different experience, but
I would hate not being able to go back into a chapter and reread a different paragraph and go get details that I might be missing or forgetting.
I mean, one of the things that I do like about, like, I have a Kindle. It's so easy. I used to. I mean, I'm shockingly uncool, but like I used to read and I would have a dictionary there too, and I'd circle words to go back and find the meaning of in the dictionary. And with Kindle, all you have to do is hold your hand down on a word, and the definition pops up. Like, I enjoy that process of it. You don't get that with an audiobook, but you can, you still grasp the storytelling. There's still some lines where I'm like, ooh, that's really good. So the experience, like you said, I think you put it well. The experience is different, but you're still processing the story in a very similar way.
You're processing every word of a book.
Yeah. Help me out. Text line 502-414-1450. Couple other things that we need to get to. One, the University of Louisville has announced its Hall of Fame class for 2025. Have you seen this, Roman?
I have seen this.
Heavy hitters.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of these names.
Okay. Heavy hitters on this list. I think for Louisville fans, there are really 3 that stand out. But the headlining duo, and I love that they're going in together, Peyton Siva and Russ Smith are both going into the University of Louisville Hall of Fame. They typically only have 1 player per sport in each class, but it does feel appropriate that these guys are going in together. I also think, and this is not a criticism, I just think that it's interesting, that Russ Smith is getting into the U of L Hall of Fame multiple years after he had his jersey retired. It feels like the second thing should come first, but what are you going to do? Russ and Peyton, both Louisville Hall of Famers. That's a no-brainer. Stephon LaFleurs, don't call me Stephon LaFleurs. He's going into the Hall of Fame, former great U of L quarterback. That's the other, I think, gigantic name. Candace Bingham, who was a terrific U of L women's basketball player here in the late 2000s. I think Emmanuel High product, local name. She's going in there. João DeLuca, men's swimming, swam for, I think, Brazil in the Olympics a couple of times. He's going into the Hall of Fame. Adam Duvall, fantastic MLB career. Only played for 2 seasons at U of L, but was terrific for the Braves. Helped them win a World Series. I think led the NL in home runs at least once. He was fantastic. Alyssa Volme from the field hockey team, recently 2011 through 2014. Christine Exeter from women's soccer, 2010 to 2013. Nikki Boltia from lacrosse, 2011 through 2014. Yeah, I know I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. And then Lola Arslanbakova, who is still the all-time kills leader in Louisville volleyball history, played here from 2009 to 2012, is going into the Hall of Fame as well. Quite the class, Roman.
Out of all these names outside of Russ and Peyton, Mike, which name do you remember hearing about? Oh, and LaFleurs.
And LaFleurs.
Which name do you remember hearing about the most?
Probably Candace Bingham, because she was on the that first team to make the Final Four.
Final Four team,
played for the national championship. She was a kind of like a hometown hero during those years. I know that was the Angel McCautry year, but she's
the only name on here that I recognized outside of those three.
Well, I'm Adam Duvall. You should probably recognize.
Yeah. Well, Adam
just because of what if for no other reason than what he's done after his U of L career. But Candace Bingham, she was like the double machine on those teams. Like, while Angel was clearly the superstar and made the superstar plays, she was kind of the glue girl, did all the dirty work, rebounding champion. She was really terrific, and then her being a local product also helped as well. But yeah, she was a lot of fun to watch. I do remember seeing DeLuca when swimming was kind of coming into its own in 2011 to 2014, and it was fun following him becoming an Olympian. I think his brother also swam for U of L, which was cool. They were kind of the second family of swimming back in those days. I remember Christine Exeter on the women's soccer team. We had some good years with her. So yeah, but Bingham was the one that stands out outside of those the four spotlight guys. But it's a great class.
Bring Rom home just tweeted at us, Mike.
What'd he say?
Hey, Ron, we being Tell Car Chronicle that audiobooks do in fact count. I have spoken. # let's listen to audiobooks.
Thank you, Bring Brom home.
There it is.
That's my guy. He knows what he's doing. The other thing that I think we've got some text on this as well. It was on my list. It was the last thing that I wanted to get to today.
Rajon Rondo?
We've got to talk about the Rajon Rondo thing, where he's apparently the quarterback of the #1 flag football team in America, and the highlights are very impressive. I mean, he plays for, I don't even know what the name of this team is, but you can go see the video out there.
His shirt says LXC Sports.
Yeah.
I played in LXC Sports.
Did you really?
They have it's their local league here for men's, major sports. Basketball, me and my friends were in a men's LXC basketball team league.
He's dropping dimes out there. This is apparently, according to multiple sources, the #1 ranked flag football team in the country. And I guess as a result, he's the #1 ranked flag football quarterback in the country right now. So I do remember it in high school. So he's a year younger than I am, and he was a year behind me in school. But I remember the kids who I knew who were a year behind me, they talked about he played football his freshman year at Eastern, and was the starting quarterback on the team. I think that was the only year he played, because when he became a sophomore, it was very apparent that basketball was going to be his future. But they were all kind of like, yeah, Eastern, they weren't very good, but they had this dude back here that was like Michael Vick. That was kind of the buzz, was they had this freshman quarterback that was just they snapped in the ball, and then he was the entire team. He was out there just dancing around. He was making us look silly. He was crazy good. And then you come to find, as we get later in our high school careers, that, he's the kid who's really good at basketball. And at that time, I remember my senior year, the big talk was he had a scholarship from Cincinnati and was looking to go to Cincinnati, and then he blew up at Oak Hill the next year. But so he's got a little bit of a football background.
He's throwing dimes.
The video, he's throwing a very tight spiral. He's putting it all over the field. He looks incredible out there.
He's got massive hands, so I'm sure they're wrapped all the way around the ball. I would assume, got great control on his throws.
He kind of makes me want to watch some of his flag football games, just watching these highlights.
I'm surprised the LXC, if this is Louisville, they're a top-rated flag football team is from Louisville, if that's what this is.
We got ballers out here. Can you, I do love that this is how he's spending his retirement. It's just it's not investing in the right products. It's not, starting a media career. He's like, no, I'm just going to go out there and be maybe the greatest flag football player in the United States of America.
I think his son's pretty nice on the court, too.
That's what it sounds like. Well, I think he's going to Ballard. Is that right? He's in 7th grade.
I was going to say, I thought he was going into 8th grade.
But he's playing on a varsity team somewhere. He's playing.
He's big. I know he's tall for his age.
Not shocking. He's playing somewhere up this year, but I can't remember exactly where it is. Speaking of, David Padgett's kid goes to my daughter's school now, and his older one is in 6th grade. I think he's 6'3". I was like, all right, let's get the recruitment going, Dave. But yeah, it's so funny because kids who have the tall genes, sometimes it takes a while for those to kick in. So I think he's got a 6th grader and a 3rd or a 4th grader, and the other one has not had his big growth spurt yet, and the older one, who I think is 11 year.
Freshman year at Atherton, we played Fern Creek, and they had 2 eighth graders on their freshman team.
It happens. Sometimes it happens. I think the Cole Elam kid played for Male as an 8th grader a little bit, and then was a star as a freshman. It's not unheard of, for sure. But, yeah, it's Rajon Rondo out there. So, can anyone actually back this up, though, is my question.
Let me see.
I tried to find stories about this, and it's all just people using the same tweets from, I think, Deadstock Visuals and Legion Hoops, saying that he's like the number 1 quarterback and this is the number 1 team. But there's no actual, like, I can't find a flag football story out there, like a flag football rating system. The highlights look great, though. I just know there are professional flag leagues across the country where they play on, like, legitimate turf fields. They have, like, stadiums and stuff. This does not look like that, but he looks like he's spreading it around pretty well.
Here's the thing. Here's the only reason I'm confused about this is, like, I follow somebody on Instagram, a guy who was pretty big high school football player that didn't go on to play college here. Last week, he was with Rondo. They were playing flag football in the same field together. He was, like, making fun of him on his Instagram story and stuff. So I'm pretty positive whatever he's doing flag football related is happening in Louisville.
Oh, it clearly is. Like, I know where that field is. But, yeah, I don't, yeah. The whole thing is confusing. I wish this would have happened I wish this would have happened back in the day. Like, there were more. So, the summer that Brian Brom was, he was like in a 3-way quarterback battle for the Buffalo Bills starting job. Like, that was the big talk of the summer. And he spent some of that summer filling in on our softball team. We played down at I can't remember what park it is down by the river. Not Thurman Hutchins, but one of the other parks. And we were in the wrong league. Like, we had a bunch of really good baseball players, and we beat the hell out of everybody in this league. And I would have loved for like TMZ to get a hold of footage, like Brian Brom playing for the number 1 ranked softball team in America. Like, they won this game 19-1, not taking into account that we were playing like law firm teams of guys that had never played a sport in their entire lives and just blasting. But also, like, Brian, I'm reading stories about Brian competing for a starting NFL quarterback. He's like sliding into home plate. I'm like, what are you doing, man? You shouldn't be out here. I don't know why we're letting you do this. But it was a different world back in 2011, Roman.
It was.
Different world out there. Let's read a couple texts here before we break at the top of the hour. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Texter says, hey, Mike and Roman, are you all going to join Chris the Plumber in his boycott of Cracker Barrel? I think being upset about the Cracker Barrel rebrand is not a political thing. Like, I think it's dumb. I'm very much not a conservative, but I think that the minimalist logo and the new rebrand it's almost sacrilegious. I grew up loving stopping at Cracker Barrel on vacations. I like the old country feel. I enjoy the chicken tenderloins with the shrimp on the side. I mean, Democrats can hate that too. I feel like the Cracker Barrel rebrand is actually the thing that's unified the country the most over the past year. Right?
I don't like it. I think
everybody hates it.
There's no cracker on it. There's no barrel on it. It's ugly.
There used to be a cracker on it?
I thought so.
I mean, the worst part about this is that the original logo sucked. It was very recognizable, but it's a terrible logo. You can't reprint that anywhere. The guy, like the person's features are impossible to recreate. The coloring sucks. It's a bad logo. I'm just more mad about them rebranding the inside of the actual restaurant, because that to me is criminal. The logo, who cares?
Yeah, are they making it like fancy in there now?
No, it just looks like everything else. Like it's bare. There's nothing. They've got like booths set up.
I like sitting at the old round wood tables.
Yeah, you play the peg game. You're an egg no remoose if you can't get it down to more than 3. It's a time-honored American tradition, for God's sake. We can all be mad about this. It doesn't have to. Our outrage doesn't need to be resigned to party lines. We can absolutely just unify together and say this sucks. Texas says, do you have any knowledge on how good Syracuse will be in football this year? I'm trying to bet a few games this weekend, and them being a 14-point dog to Tennessee seems a bit high. I think Syracuse could be one of the surprising teams in the ACC. They've got the talent. we'll find out if Fran can coach a little bit this year because they brought in some dudes. They got the transfer quarterback, Steve Agnetti from Notre Dame, who can play a little bit, should be able to play well enough. They've got some. I mean, they got a bunch of portal guys that we were going after as well. They've got a roster that has no reason to be under 500 in the ACC, but it's a matter of whether or not they can put it together because they've had players in the past and they haven't been able to get it done. But I think Syracuse has a chance to be surprisingly good. I'm not saying great, but I think they have a chance to be surprisingly good this year.
Thinks Tennessee mops them up.
Yeah,
3 scores.
Week 1 is so hard to predict, but my heart says Tennessee probably wins by 3 scores. I'm right there with you. Jason, what can I say? I'm a big volleyball coach and big volleyball fan, and I want to hear from the new coach. I do too. Trying to get him on the line. Trying to make it happen. Texas says, this is BS Gill, and then says Louisville Golf Club.
That's the golf club guys, Mike.
Oh, the golf club guy.
Grab one of them.
I mean,
well, Gill would be great.
Look, if you whack Gill, then maybe you can get on the team. You're going to have to Tanya Harding Gill to make it on the squad. Texas says, oh, look, it's Oscar's roommate Gill. I wonder if he knows. That's, I believe, the genesis of it. His name is not actually Gill. Texas says Elk Run Golf Course, isn't the house they just found a headless guy located on that course? What? What? Wait, what? I know that there are homes very close there. There's a headless guy on Elk Run? Does Gil know about this? I'm going to have to look this up during the break. Mike, you're overthinking it. Let your flag fly. That's what I do. What?
Whoa.
What?
I cut off his head, the quote says. Indiana man charged with murder in his father's homicide. This is in Jeffersonville.
That's where Elk Run Golf Course is.
Wow.
Does it have the address? All right. I'm going to have to look this up during the break. As far as letting the flag fly, that's what I'm literally trying to do. I don't want to put the Louis the Cardinal out there and then have him maybe mess up the mojo. We'll see. It's going to be a game time decision. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Final segment of the show is up next, 5 o'clock hour. We'll figure out whether or not the Big X Golf Scramble is going to be taking place where a decapitation just happened. We'll get that news to you after the break, and then we'll call it a day. It's the Mike Rutherford Show presented by United Mechanical on the Big X. The quote from
it's crazy stuff.
It's insane. The quote from Larry Wilder, who's the attorney, formerly known as the trash can attorney, was friends with Winickie's family, has known him since he was a child, said, "Great kid." The whole family, who is suffering a tragedy twofold, they were all there, and they support Bryce. They support each other. They don't see what happened as something that is anything other than a horrible, tragic event. Like, so I love my brothers. I love my sister. You cut my dad's head off, I'm not telling anybody that I support you. I'm not. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that, call me crazy, Roman. I draw the line at decapitation. So much decapitation talk on the show today. How did we even get here?
Little too much.
It's time to walk that back. We're done with this. We do have a little bit of sad news to talk about. Former U of L football player Madden Sanker, who announced that after last season that he was transferring to Florida Atlantic. There was some news today early that he was no longer a member of the team, and I think that led to a lot of eyebrow raising around here. He tweeted out about an hour ago, "I'm medically retired from football. As always, thank you and love to anyone a part of the journey." This was a guy who was one of the highest rated offensive linemen to ever sign with Louisville. There was a lot of hype surrounding him when he got here. There was a lot of attention on him during his recruiting process, and he got here. Never really got a chance to see the field his first 2 years. Goes to FAU for an attempt at a new start. I'm not sure exactly what took place here or what his medical issue is, but you always hate to see somebody who I'm sure just like 3 years ago was planning to spend a solid chunk of his life playing football now have to come to terms with the reality of that career being over way, way, way before he ever thought that was possible. So
sad.
Certainly very, very sad news. Hopefully he goes on to have a successful run outside of football. But thought we'd pass along that word there, Madden Sanker. Best of luck to him moving forward. We still don't have a depth chart from U of L, by the way. I don't know if they're
not
just
surprised.
Are they just not going to do one this? They're like, you're forcing us to give injury reports. Guess what? You ain't getting a depth chart this year. We're done.
I really wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe we won't. I mean, usually it's a Monday thing when the game notes come out. A lot of programs I've seen, they've had their initial depth chart today, but we get nothing from U of L just yet, so we're still left to guess. Maybe Deuce Adams is going to start on Saturday. Who knows? Wouldn't put it past Jeff
Crazy. Like Duke Watson got the first carry.
Yeah, Keywan Brown's back there the first play. We're like, damn, wow. Scoots just texted, goes, "You accused me of being a beheader? WTF? Messed up, man." I don't know what you're possible of, Scoots. Just saying there's a lot of stuff happening right now at the Big X. Causing a lot of questions. Got a lot of questions right now. All right, let's go to the Game Day Men's Health text line. We have a lot of text to get through, only about 20 minutes to get there. And then we'll hand things off to Roman's recap with his Big X Big Bets for today. How'd we do yesterday?
2-1, Mike.
You were rolling.
31-20 in August. We're on path for our best month here. We're going to have a good week.
Guy can't miss. Cannot miss. All right, here we go. Let's text line it up. Texter, I'm listening to the replay. Oh, no, we already read that one. Texter says, "I know I'm an idiot, but explain why not every team in the ACC can play 9 games right now. I honestly can't figure out what that means, and again, I'm an idiot." Well, the math doesn't work out. It's impossible for 17 teams to each play 9 conference games against the other teams in the league. You would have to have a team.
Somebody sitting out.
Somebody would have to sit out, or you'd have to have somebody play the same team twice, or you'd have to have the scenario where the Notre Dame games that are out of conference count. The math doesn't math is the best way that I can say it. Look, as a well-known idiot myself who is bad at math, I'm trusting those smart schools out there like Duke and UNC with their absolutely not fake classes that are saying it can't be done. The math doesn't work there. What if we all were just taking everybody at their word and it actually could be done? Like somebody sits down, they're like, actually, it's... Texture says, "What fantasy football formats do you guys play in?" I'm in 5 leagues. This is a sore subject for me. 3 Dynasty, 1 Keeper, 1 Redraft, all Superflex and 0.5 PPR. 2 are tight end premium, 1.5 PPR. Well, I'm relegated from my league this year, so I only play in 2. 1 we've done with friends since high school. It's very, very serious. I've won it 3 times. I won it 2 years ago. I finished last year, even though I finished 6th in points. It's only 10-person. We do redraft. We don't do keeper. We don't do dynasty. We're very resistant to change. We're OGs. We're terrified of change. The other league, I think, it was 12 person. Now it's down to 10 as well. It has flex. We do, I think, 0.5 PPR. I don't even know what it is. But I've got that league draft coming up this Saturday. So I'm annoying everybody in our fantasy football league by just already whining so much about not being in the league. But that's it. I don't like having more than 2 leagues. It's too much for me to focus on. Already 2 is, I feel like, way too much.
I'm in a new league. I'm with the the Louisville NBA guys. I'm with Nick Collier and Alan Clark, who's a listener on the show and also in that program, and a couple other Louisville affiliated guys. And we do they're doing the basic. Just 2 wide receivers, 2 running back, 1 tight end, 1 flex.
Was that the one you invited me to play in?
Yep.
I can't do it. I'm going to try to do Survivor this year because I paid to be in a league last year. I think it was Rob Dosser. And I did it the first week, got it correct, and then I forgot to do week 2. Like, I always just forget. I need to remind myself. I need another thing to be into this fall. Texter says, have you all talked about how soft it is that Ohio State banned Portnoy from coming this weekend? We've not gotten into this. I don't know if this is – well, there's no clarity on what exactly happened here. So Dave Portnoy, the owner of Barstool Sports, very big Michigan guy, hates Ohio State. He's been signed on to be a part of the Fox pregame show this year for their big noon kickoff. And week 1 is obviously Ohio State-Texas, the biggest game in college football. So it's at the shoe. And word came out, I guess, late last night that Ohio State had banned him from coming into the stadium. Now, they do the first couple of hours of the show outside the stadium, and they do the last hour inside the stadium, kind of like College Gameday does when they're at a game that kicks off at noon. So he can do the first couple of hours, but he can't go into the stadium. Now, then Ohio State came out and said, we didn't ban anybody. This was always Fox's part. Like, Portnoy is not going to be at the desk, and the rule is that all of the people who are not at the desk, they don't come into the stadium for the stadium segment of the show. And the Big Ten came out and basically said, or I guess Ross Dellinger via the Big Ten said, Portnoy won't be inside any of the Big Ten stadiums this year where the show is. So nobody knows exactly what the hell's going on. I kind of think that this is all a ploy by the Fox people. I think they want, because, so Saturday, Roman, is Lee Corso's last appearance on College Gameday.
As it should be. And
College Gameday has been kicking the bleep out of this new show for however long it's been around. Like, every now and then I flip it on, it's terrible. Like, the show is awful. It's way too many people, nobody overly interesting. It's an awful show. So I just go to College Gameday, which is, people say it's not as good as it used to be. It's still whatever. It's good background noise for a Saturday morning in the fall. I think that, this is a good way to get people, 1, aware that you're doing a show on Fox who already weren't aware. 2, kind of willing to flip over from time to time just to see what's going on. Like, is Portnoy on the show? What's Dave Portnoy going to say about Ohio State? I think this is all one big ploy.
To get more eyes on
the show. Yeah.
I agree.
Trying to get the ball. They're at risk of being, the ratings they've just been so thoroughly dominated that I think a lot of people are like, why are you even doing a pregame show? Like, nobody cares about this. Nobody watches it. Everyone just flips over to the game once College Gameday is over, if it's a big game on Fox. This is unquestionably the biggest game in week 1. And they're the lead into that game. This is a great opportunity for them to get extra eyeballs on their show. And I'm sure that they want to, drum up some drama for it. So while this may have been rooted in some fact, I think Fox is absolutely playing this up to try to get some extra attention.
Probably smart.
It's not dumb. Texas Kelsey can join the country club and start tying sweaters around his back all he wants, but he can't change who he really is. He's cheating with an R&B singer within 5 years, and Swift is writing songs about not being thick enough.
I didn't want to say it. Lazard guy said it. It wasn't me, Mike. You saw you see what his dating history looks like.
You think he's cheating in 5 years?
He used to have the John Cena buzz cut and a gold chain on.
He did. He's a dumb Cincinnati guy.
Now he's got the flow.
Do you think that Kelsey has been faithful to Swift up to this point?
Yes.
You do?
I do. I feel like at that age, you're not dating someone of that caliber to be cheating.
He was here by himself for Derby a couple times. Could have gotten away with something if you wanted to. I want to believe that he's been faithful. You guys just have no faith in love.
They're like 30, which I thought they were.
35 now.
Yeah, the fact that they're 35, got to make it happen.
You guys just don't believe in love. God, we have way more text on it. We got to go fast here. It doesn't help that the next text is very long. Text says, if we can't have Louisville live, allow me to set the scene for an alternative. It's the Kansas exhibition. Vibes are great. We pump the smell of Freedom Hall through the vents of the Yum Center. Everyone is subconsciously feeling a sense of ecstasy. 10 minutes before tip-off, the lights cut out. Kanye's All the Lights piano interlude begins playing before a spotlight appears on the 1980 championship banner. Highlights from the season play on the Jumbotron. The crowd cheers. Spotlight pans to the 1986 banner. Highlights from that season play. The crowd cheers even louder. The anticipation is growing. Are they going to do it? Is heard throughout the arena. Oh my God, it's happening. Then the interlude fades into All of the Lights. And as the beat drops, so does the curtain in front of the rehung 2013 banner. The crowd has officially erupted. Then for one night, and one night only, we hear the voice of Sean Moth over the PA. And now, ladies and gentlemen, turn your attention to half court for your 2025-2026 University of Louisville Cardinals. The court begins to open at half court. Smoke is creeping up from underneath, and emerging from the shadows come the full basketball team and staff, all holding up their L's. It's officially basketball season. We never lose again.
This would be great.
I love this text.
Funny thing, though, before this text came in, I was thinking, maybe that's what you do, though. The first exhibition of the season, if the first one that's in Yum Center, because I can't, you maybe don't get one in Yum Center every single year, but if you can get that exhibition game in Yum Center, make it like you come in 2 hours early, and it's going to be kind of a pregame event, maybe. That's your form of Louisville Live. That exhibition game, you get to come in early. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you're going to see, but some kind of event, pregame event on that first exhibition game of the season, maybe.
Text says, did UK sweep that swim team scandal under the rug the same way Florida saw Golden was coaching well and cleared him of wrongdoing? Very much Michigan State, Penn State vibes from that swimming story. And I bet if I asked 10 UK fans, 9 wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. And somehow we're still talking about strippers and minority. Sure seems like that went away.
Haven't heard anything about it.
I haven't been much in about a year on that swimming scandal. Text, Roman, I feel your pain. It's tough to feel unsatisfied at the point of climax. Text says, Goldie and Kurt are not married. Are they? Oh, well, they're together, though, right? Am I wrong about that? Anyway. Text says, Riddler here. Taylor Swift wedding at Super Bowl halftime show or GTFO of my TV screen? I want more Taylor Swift on my screen during football games just to piss you off. Text says, what would Jeff Brom have done with the 2016 team? Tough to say. My soul says one more than 9 games is the answer. But we've never seen Jeff with a weapon like Lamar at quarterback.
And he said that that's what he wants.
He wants a dual threat. He thinks that he was a dual threat growing up. We've never seen him work with one. Maybe we'll get that chance next year with Deuce. We'll find out. Texas Mike, I'm thinking about buying tickets to the Cincinnati game on November 21st. I've never caught a game there and was wondering if the nosebleeds are bad seats or should I just buy better seats. Help a brother out.
First text in the show. It's a dump text. If you want this to be like a nice game, this is not the arena that Cincinnati typically plays in. It's the arena that houses, I think, the hockey team now. Yeah.
It's a dump. You won't have a bad sight line. It's a smaller arena. You'll have a good view from near the top. But if you're looking for a good overall viewing experience, you're not going to get it there. It's a dump. Texas, I asked ChatGPT to tell me whose non-con schedule was tougher, and it says Louisville over Kentucky. BBN is fixated on calling out schedule not hard. Calling our schedule not hard, so I assume this came from Matt Jones. Nobody's saying our schedule is not hard. It's absurd. Texas says, hey, Mike, Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell never married but are in a committed relationship. Thank you. Text line knows everything. They knew all about Goldie and Kurt before I did. Texas, little Timmy be damned. Daddy needs a point guard.
Good point.
We can't go, Timmy. Like, imagine telling your kid we can't go to a Louisville Live event, and then he's watching basketball, and you're like, you see that guy right there, Michael Brown? That's why we can't go to Louisville Live. It's what you sacrificed. Little Timmy, you did this. You helped us. Texas, watch Georgia cancel the series with us, then play FSU on primetime ABC next season while we're stuck playing Charlotte on ESPN+. Then FSU will say they're justified getting more revenue share from the ACC based on better ratings for that game. What a crock of bleep this revenue share is going to be.
I can see this already.
This is a very, very, very realistic scenario. We probably would schedule Charlotte. Texas, Mike and Roman, who has your commercials? Just heard back, focus on the family commercials doesn't quite fit the Cardinals shoving the football off the Wildcats' ass vibe. I mean, look, we're one big walking juxtaposition here at the Big X.
Talking about decapitations and outroing with doo-wop. That was great.
I do love, the idea of some of I'm not even going to go into just some of the people here, if they actually, listen to every second of the show. I just staring at us when they walked in, just spraying us with holy water. Texture says, Matt and Senker medically retiring from football. You hate to see it. I do hate to see it. Texas, buying my first house.
Congrats.
Congratulations. How open should I be about fandom to my neighbors? I'm a diehard season ticket holder and kind of a lunatic about college sports.
Don't even tell them anything. Just start putting all the memorabilia you have out.
I mean, when we met, somehow our neighbors already knew. Our immediate neighbors on all sides of us are, well, I take it back. The woman to our left is not.
It's the older lady, right?
She's probably a little bit older than I am. But behind us and then directly to our right are older couples. And the one woman who's the big Ole Miss fan. I met her husband first, and she was like, he was just straight up she's convinced you're some kind of big U of L guy. And she's kind of a U of L hater. And I was like, oh, God. This is 5 seconds into our first conversation. And I met her, and she is very nice. She's the classic. She's Ole Miss, but she's Ole Miss football. And she's Kentucky basketball. And I'm like, oh, But they got the Ole Miss flag flying right now. I think you got to let them know. You got to let them know who you are, because they're going to find out one way or the other. It is the one big thing that I miss about our old street is we were just surrounded by diehard U of L fans everywhere we went, just throwing L's up, talking Louisville sports. It was wonderful. Texas says, have you all seen, Rondo. Little Dumper says, audiobooks are somewhere between reading and podcast. Personally, I can listen to nonfiction on audiobooks because it's like a podcast. But fiction, I have to physically read because I can't understand them on audiobooks half the time. I thought I was going to have this issue yesterday. It ended up working out pretty well. Texas, I don't care if it's not considered reading. I love hearing a book while I can get stuff done. Listen to Norm Macdonald's book based on a true story. None of my friends will listen, and I need someone to get my references. I will not hesitate to absorb anything about Norm Macdonald. Texas, all the homies agree the new Cracker Barrel logo is whack.
Terrible.
It's terrible. Texas, the new Cracker Barrel logo is just the Golden Corral logo.
It is. Used to be a cracker, Mike. And the guy's sitting on the barrel.
Mm-hmm. There was levels to it. Texas says, Louisville beating Georgia at L&N Stadium and then them canceling the series would 1,000% be worth it. Hell, I'd let them out for free just for the optics. I mean, that's almost ideal. If we beat them at home, don't have to play them on the road, and they pay us not to play that game, yeah, I'm all for that. That'd be great. Texas, if you're just going to do audiobooks and not read the actual book, you might as well go all the way and wait for an inevitable movie TV adaptation then. No, that's too much. Texas says they already changed the peg game to say better luck next time instead of calling you an ignoramus. I didn't know what that word actually was for a long. I was like, it's an ignoramus. Mom's like, no, it's an ignoramus. I was like, oh.
I did the same thing.
Cracker Barrel made me feel like an idiot by calling me an idiot. Texter says audiobook is better than people claiming to read a book and all they've done is read a chat GPT summary. People are actually doing this. People are they're doing that?
Yeah, because chat GPT can can scan anything.
I mean, if you're in high school or whatever, that's one thing. But if you're if you're reading for fun as an adult
and reviewing,
yeah, and you're bragging about having read War and Peace and all you did was read a 5-minute summary on chat GPT, I don't think that that's legitimate. I think that's far less legitimate than audiobooking. Texas says, I'm formally starting a Socialists Against Cracker Barrel rebrand support group. Texas says, first they came for the cracker, and I did not speak out because I was not a cracker. Then they came for the barrel, and I did not speak out because I was not a barrel. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. I don't know if that's in poor taste or not, but it made me laugh, so I'm enjoying it. Texas, is Roman going to get a Sirius XM subscription to listen to his idol Stephen A. Smith's new radio show?
No.
It's the first time we've gotten a Stephen A. Smith Roman's idol reference in a while.
I think it's cool that he lets his daughter on his one show, though.
I didn't.
Comes on there and gets to say whatever she wants, pretty much.
Okay, Chris the Plumber has genuinely weighed in on the Cracker Barrel subject. On the Cracker Barrel subject, you should be asking why it needed to be rebranded. What was wrong with it the way that it was? Clearly it was a bad move because the stock dropped. That's not me. That's America. These people need to learn to stop trying to fix stuff that don't need fixing. There it is.
There it is.
Texture says, Cracker Barrel went woke, and I love it because Cracker Barrel was a racist restaurant. I have stories.
It was.
I don't know how it's going woke, though. We don't need to get it. We have 2 minutes left in the show. Mike, I didn't expect you to be a big fan of baking, which obviously is the official term for playing the Cracker Barrel game. My God, we're completely done. Texas, I live on Elk Run. That dude cut his dad's head off in the next neighborhood over and just took it to a house that is located pretty close to the golf course. Weird, wild stuff. Every text gets worse than the next one. Texas is Ryan Keelan here, just tuning in, but I'm not hearing enough about how perfect this Saturday is shaping up. The boys and I, shout out Buckets Fantasy Football League, booked a suite thinking weather might be an issue. Turns out it's going to be magnificent. Got a full squad of guys in their mid-30s flying in from all over the country for the game. Our fantasy draft and a round of golf at Neville meet on Sunday. Where can I catch the Texas OSU game during tailgate? Also, I got served mimosas by a drag queen at my local Cracker Barrel last weekend, and there were illegals everywhere, just saying. You couldn't just leave it. You couldn't just leave it at the great weekend ahead text. Congratulations on having a fantastic weekend. Weather's going to be incredible.
Come see us in the tailgate. Abelson and I will be watching the game.
Abelson's going to have it. That's all you need to know. Just ask around. People will tell you where he is. Texas Mission Barbecue Josh here. Y'all have to let me know when you're back in Jeff, and I'll make a visit. We'll be at the parlor in Jeff next month. I was a senior when Rondo was a freshman, and the b-ball coach would rope off half the gym and run drills with him. We just sat there watching him every day. It was pretty cool to see. Texas says, letting UGA out without paying up is worse than doing nothing about the banner. I kind of agree. Texas, nothing is more Mike Rutherford than going to break saying we'll check if the Big X Golf Scramble is taking place at a decapitation crime scene with Hanson's and Mbop playing in the background. Look, we're in mid-season form already. And this show has completely gotten away from us. I don't know what happened the last hour. I don't know how we got here, but whatever. We did. Roman's going to save his Big X Big Bets for Roman.
Full non-con basketball breakdown. Stay tuned.
What's up?
Breaking down the non-con schedule here.
Oh.
Official wins and losses, Mike.
Roman's talking some hoops for the next 30 minutes. He'll also have some Big X Big Bets. What do we have on TV tonight?
A lot of U.S. Open, or is it all finished up today?
No. They're still going strong. U.S. Open is insane, by the way. If we had less decapitation stuff to get to, we probably would have talked about it today. All right, NBA TV, 10 o'clock. Phoenix Mercury versus Los Angeles Sparks. Roman,
NBA TV. Give me the, or that is on NBA
TV.
Sparks are bad. Give me the Mercury.
I was going to say, it's all Mercury. Let's go. All right, tomorrow, normal show. Thursdays, we're at Lenny's Lounge. Fridays, the Big X Golf Scramble. Tomorrow, we will be doing our game-by-game predictions. I know Roman's already done this before, but guess what? This is the official one, so you're going to want to tune in for that. Keep it locked right here. Roman's red hot. He's going to give you some things to bet on tonight. It's going to make you some money. Keep it locked for Roman's recap. I'm back tomorrow at 2:30. I will talk to you then. Go Cards.
Go Cards.
The Mike Rutherford Show was brought to you by United Mechanical. John Burke's United Mechanical is your trusted